Most people think wealth begins with money. They are wrong. Wealth begins much earlier, before the coin, before the field, before the plan. It begins with the man himself. I have seen kings lose kingdoms, not because of enemies, but because they could not rule their own desires. Listen closely, because this truth decides everything that follows. A man who cannot control himself will never control wealth. He may touch it, he may taste it, but he will not keep it. Money obeys order. It flees chaos. If your thoughts are scattered, your resources will scatter with them. If your desires rule you, money will rule you as well. I learned this early, before I asked for wisdom, before gold filled my halls. I learned to wait. Waiting is not weakness. Waiting is mastery. The one who acts immediately acts blindly. The one who pauses sees clearly. Most losses do not come from bad plans. They come from uncontrolled moments, a moment of pride, a moment of fear, a moment of impatience, and years of labor vanish. You want wealth? Then first learn restraint. Do not spend to impress. Do not act to prove. Do not chase to quiet insecurity. These habits drain more wealth than poverty ever could. I watched men earn greatly and lose silently, not in one day, but in small leaks, unnoticed decisions, repeated indulgences, lack of boundaries. Self-mastery closes those leaks. A disciplined man does not need much to grow much. He knows when to say no. He knows when to stop. He knows when enough is enough. Enough is a powerful word. Without it, wealth has no end and no peace. I ruled over abundance, yet I slept peacefully, not because I had more, but because I desired less than I could have. This is Rule 1. Before you manage wealth, manage appetite. Before you seek increase, learn control. Before you build riches, build restraint. Because money amplifies what already exists. If you are steady, it strengthens you. If you are restless, it destroys you faster. A man without discipline is like a city without walls. Anything may enter. Nothing is protected. Gold will not save such a man. It will only expose him. So begin here, not with earning, not with strategy, but with yourself. Rule yourself, and wealth will follow quietly. There is a lie many believe, that speed is strength. It is not. Speed reveals weakness. Slowness reveals wisdom. I watched fortunes rise quickly. I watched them disappear faster. What comes fast leaves without warning. Wealth is not taken. It is grown, like a tree. A tree forced to grow quickly has shallow roots. The first strong wind breaks it. But the tree that grows slowly stands for generations. Most men want harvest without season. They want reward without patience. That is not wisdom. That is hunger. Hunger makes poor decisions. I learned this while ruling. When gifts flowed freely, when gold arrived daily, the danger was not lack. The danger was excess. Excess tempts haste. Haste makes a man careless. Carelessness invites loss. Slow building teaches respect for effort, for time, for consequence. When wealth comes slowly, the mind grows with it. The man learns how to carry it, how to protect it, how to use it without being used. Fast gain skips this training. That is why many who rise quickly fall loudly. They never learned how to stand. Each step skipped returns later as a lesson, often a painful one. Slow growth creates stability. Stability creates peace. Peace protects wealth. Do not envy the sudden rise. You do not see the weak foundation. I saw merchants rush deals. They celebrated early. Months later, they paid twice what they gained. The patient merchant waited. He watched. He learned. His profit was quieter, but it stayed. Wealth that stays changes generations. Wealth that rushes changes moods. Build slowly. Let each increase teach you. Let each gain settle before seeking more. Do not expand before you can manage. Do not multiply before you can maintain. More is dangerous when structure is weak. This is why wisdom prefers process over outcome. Outcome fades. Process remains. A man trained in patience can rebuild from nothing. A man trained only in speed cannot hold abundance. If you feel urgency, pause. Urgency is rarely wisdom. It is often fear disguised as opportunity. Fear pushes. Wisdom waits. I did not become wealthy by chasing. I became wealthy by allowing growth. Measured, observed, protected. This is rule 2. Do not rush what must mature. Let wealth come at the pace your character can sustain. Wealth is quiet when it leaves. It does not announce itself. It slips away while the mind is elsewhere. Most men think loss comes from disaster. It rarely does. Loss comes from neglect, from assuming things will remain without effort. Nothing remains without attention. I have seen storehouses full and households starving later, not because income stopped, but because discipline did. Discipline is tiring. Neglect is easy. That is why neglect wins unless it is resisted. A man watches his enemies, but he forgets to watch himself. This is where wealth disappears. Small comforts become habits. Habits become expenses. Expenses become burdens. No single decision ruins him, but the pattern does. The wise interrupt patterns early. They notice when spending becomes emotional, when giving becomes careless, when trust becomes blind. Blind trust is not virtue, it is laziness. Wisdom sees clearly and still chooses carefully. I trusted men, but I verified outcomes. I honored workers, but I counted results. This was not suspicion. It was stewardship. What is given to you is not owned by you alone. It carries responsibility. Gold that is wasted accuses its keeper. Time that is misused testifies against its master. Guarding wealth is guarding future freedom. A man who does not watch his resources will eventually serve them. Debt is born from inattention. Regret is born from delay. Attention prevents both. The wise revisit decisions, not because they doubt themselves, but because conditions change. A good plan ignored becomes a bad one. What worked once may fail later. Only vigilance adapts. This is why wisdom loves review. Review sharpens judgment. It reveals leaks. It restores order. A man who never reviews, repeats mistakes, and calls it fate. It is not fate. It is neglect. Even generosity must be guarded. Giving without wisdom weakens both giver and receiver. True generosity strengthens both. It considers timing, capacity, purpose. Impulse gives to feel good. Wisdom gives to do good. There is a difference. Wealth respects boundaries. Without boundaries, it dissolves. Set limits. Honor them, not out of fear, out of understanding. The man who knows his limits moves confidently within them. The man who ignores them falls beyond them. Every agreement should be clear, every partnership examined, every promise weighed. Unclear terms create future conflict. Conflict destroys wealth faster than loss. Peace preserves resources. That is why wisdom chooses clarity. A guarded life is not a restricted life. It is a protected one. Protection allows rest. Rest allows clarity. Clarity allows growth. This is how wealth stays, not by force, not by control, but by consistent awareness. Guard what you earn, or it will quietly leave you behind. There is a place where wealth is decided long before money appears. Most never look there. They look at income. They look at opportunity. They look at numbers. But wealth is decided in daily choices. Small ones, invisible ones. The moments no one sees. How a man speaks when no one is listening. How he chooses when no one is watching. I observed this carefully. Two men may earn the same. One grows wealthy. The other remains empty. The difference is not effort. It is alignment. Alignment between values and actions. A man who speaks wisdom but acts impulsively loses credibility with himself. And when a man loses trust in himself, his decisions weaken. Wealth follows confidence, but confidence comes from integrity. Integrity is doing the same thing in private as in public. This is where Moru leak wealth. They justify small compromises, small shortcuts, small dishonesty. They think it is harmless. It is not. Each compromise fractures the mind. A fractured mind cannot hold abundance. Money demands clarity. It avoids confusion. If your inner world is divided, your outer world reflects it. I watched men deceive others, but the greater damage was always self-deception. They told themselves they would correct it later. Later rarely comes. Habits solidify quickly. What you tolerate today becomes your standard tomorrow. Wealth respects standards. Low standards repel it. High standards attract it quietly. Not through force, through consistency. The wise man chooses restraint, even when excess is available. Not because he cannot take more, but because he understands cost. Everything has a cost, not always money, often peace, often clarity, often sleep. I valued sleep, not because I was idle, but because rest sharpens judgment. A tired mind makes expensive mistakes. Many losses come from exhaustion, from overextension, from ignoring limits. Wisdom respects limits. The fool breaks them and calls it ambition. Ambition without discipline leads to ruin. There is a moment when saying no is worth more than profit. That moment comes often. Those who miss it pay later. Wealth grows where boundaries are honored. Boundaries around time, around energy, around desire. A man who says yes to everything owns nothing. His attention is scattered. His resources follow. I guarded my attention fiercely. Not every voice deserved access. Not every request deserved agreement. Discernment protects wealth, not opportunity alone. Opportunity without discernment is a trap. Many doors open, few are meant to be entered. The wise pause at the doorway. They ask quietly, "What will this demand of me later?" That question saves fortunes. Most never ask it. They ask only, "What will I gain now?" Now is a dangerous word. Now ignores consequence. Wisdom lives in later. Later is built today. Each decision either strengthens or weakens the future. Nothing is neutral. Every choice moves you towards stability or away from it. Even rest must be chosen wisely. Idleness drains. Rest restores. There is a difference. Rest prepares you to act well. Idleness delays action. Wealth favors readiness. Readiness comes from rhythm, work, rest, reflection. When rhythm is lost, judgment fails. This is why many fall after success. They abandon rhythm. They think abundance replaces discipline. It does not. Abundance tests discipline. The greater the resources, the greater the need for restraint. I learned this painfully. Not all lessons come easily. Some arrive through regret, but wisdom listens before pain speaks. So watch the small things, the quiet choices, the unnoticed habits. They decide everything. This is where wealth is truly built, or quietly undone. Wealth has weight. Not everyone can carry it. Most believe the burden is poverty. They are mistaken. Abundance is heavier. It presses on judgment. It tests restraint. It exposes weakness. I saw this again and again. Men prayed for increase. Few prepared for responsibility. Responsibility arrives quietly. It does not ask permission. When wealth increases, every flaw is magnified. A small lack of discipline becomes disaster. A minor habit becomes a chain. This is why wisdom grows slower than desire. Desire wants more. Wisdom asks why. The man who never asks why will never rest. Rest is not inactivity. Rest is freedom from inner pressure. Pressure destroys clarity, and clarity is the true currency of wealth. Without clarity, money creates noise. Noise leads to poor decisions. Poor decisions compound faster than profit. I watched men surrounded by abundance, yet constantly anxious. They feared loss. They feared judgment. They feared emptiness. Fear is expensive. It causes overreaction. It causes hoarding. It causes waste. The calm mind spends less by deciding better. Wealth is not multiplied by force. It is multiplied by precision. Precision comes from stillness. A still mind notices patterns. A restless mind misses them. Patterns reveal where effort matters and where it is wasted. Most men exhaust themselves working where nothing grows. They mistake movement for progress. Progress is selective. It requires saying no more often than yes. Each yes carries weight, time, attention, energy. These are currencies more valuable than gold. Gold follows them. If you waste attention, you will waste wealth. If you scatter time, money will scatter with it. I guarded my mornings, not because they were sacred, but because clarity lives there. A day begun without intention ends without reward. Wealth respects intention. Intention gives direction. Direction prevents drift. Drift is subtle. It feels harmless, comfortable. But drift moves you away from what you built, little by little. The wise correct early. They notice when effort loses focus, when habits soften, when discipline relaxes. Relaxation feels earned, but it often arrives too soon. Rest must be chosen carefully. There is rest that restores and rest that dulls. Dullness invites decay. Decay rarely announces itself. It whispers, a missed review, a delayed decision, an ignored discomfort. The wise listen to discomfort. Discomfort is information. It reveals imbalance. Ignoring it is costly. Wealth requires adjustment. What worked yesterday may strain today. Rigidity breaks under abundance. Flexibility guided by principle endures. Principle is the anchor. Without it, flexibility becomes compromise. Compromise weakens the soul. A weakened soul cannot hold wealth. It becomes servant to it. I ruled nations, yet I served wisdom. Wisdom ruled me. This order matters. When money rules the man is poor, regardless of amount. When the man rules money, even little is enough. Enough brings peace. Peace sharpens judgment. Judgment protects wealth. This cycle sustains itself. Many seek wealth to feel secure, but security comes first. It comes from order within, from knowing limits, from honoring them, from choosing less when more is available. This choice builds authority over self. Self-rule is rare. That is why wealth concentrates, not because opportunity is scarce, but because discipline is. Discipline is quiet, unimpressive, yet it outlasts brilliance. Brilliance burns fast. Discipline glows steadily. The man who masters himself does not fear loss. He knows he can rebuild. That knowledge creates confidence. Confidence removes desperation. Desperation destroys wealth. The calm man waits. Waiting is not passive. It is attentive. He watches cycles. He notices timing. He acts when effort aligns with season. This is where many fail. They act when emotion peaks, not when conditions mature. Emotion clouds judgment. Wisdom waits for clarity. Clarity comes to the patient. The impatient borrow clarity from others and pay with regret. Borrowed judgment is expensive. Trusting blindly costs more than learning slowly. I listened widely, but I decided alone. This preserved authority. Authority over decisions is authority over outcome. When others decide for you, they shape your future, even unintentionally. Wealth demands ownership of choice. Without it, you are only a manager of chance. Chance is unreliable. Wisdom creates reliability. Reliability builds trust. Trust attracts opportunity. Opportunity sustained by discipline becomes prosperity. This path is quiet. It does not impress crowds, but it endures storms. The man who understands this sleeps well, not because nothing can be lost, but because nothing owns him. This is the highest wealth, and it is built long before the first coin is earned.